All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So today's pod is, as you would have noticed if you've already seen the write up, today's post is, and today's pod is definitely a special one in the life of a coach, in the life of a digital coach. Some people tend to disregard or discount um, your birthday, and some people tend to maybe overhype or overvalue it. What I've been thinking now over the last couple of days, and especially tonight at the time of this recording, which happens to be the eve of my birthday. Um, I thought, what better time than today to share with you live when, if you happen to be watching this on Facebook, or of course, if you happen to be consuming this, watching this, or listening to this on Facebook, on YouTube as a pod, then this is kind of like my reflections on what it means to be once again um, reaching that milestone mark, right? Because we all have different ways of looking uh, at a number, at our birthdays. So I thought, what better time than now to do that? But before I do that, let me just quickly shut the door. I'll be right back. All right, so I am back. So for those of you watching this on video, you can tell that I just stepped away. Of course, if you happen to be listening to this as an audio, well, the break was just me getting up, shutting the door, and let's crack on. So, like I said, um, even as I was, preparing this piece, and so typically a lot of my reflections are designed to be extempore, which means beyond a point, I don't really plan exactly what I'm going to share and what I'm going to say um, to you and share with you. For the reason that I prefer this coming from a place of absolute purity, being really present and being open to my own thoughts, my own reflections. And today, definitely with this topic, uh, it's no it's no different, and of course, it's more meaningful. So, like I said, I would, if I go back in time, for many years, I've definitely been one of those people that has always celebrated uh, the my birthday, even the eve of my birthday. So it's like typically, bringing in my birthday with a bang for many years. And I think probably closer to somewhere around when I got to my 40s, in fact, around my 40th, I started to feel slightly different about uh, how I would want to reflect um, on my life, on the year gone by, and who I was becoming, right? And so over the years, I've noticed that more and more, I'm not as um, maybe I'm more reflective. I'm not as energized or enthused that okay, let's do something because it's my birthday, versus earlier I would go out of my way to plan how to make my birthday special and celebrate it with friends, with my family. So as I was actually reflecting back on the last 12 months, so uh, incidentally, last year around this time was a period of change again in my life because I was actually in the process of shifting location. I was Bombay based and I was on my way back to Bangalore. And over the months, obviously, there have been changes. Um, there's been a lot of focus on, how I look at my work. Uh, Even today, in fact, in fact, we do have a pod that you get to listen to now. It's been, as a pod, we've been on for close to about a month now. And as daily, Facebook Live recordings, we've been doing this now for, and if you've been following along, this has been on for closer to about 9, almost 10 months. So this project, began as a project in November, and initially it was like 30 days of posting every day. And with time, it became more about doing Facebook Lives, because there was a lot of travel happening at that point, as in different cities. So there are a lot of uncertainties, if I want to call it that. So I knew I didn't want my setup to be very heavy on production. It was more about just showing up and sharing and connecting with you. And that's been the case ever since, from November into December. And then, of course, from Jan, it's literally been every day. And I keep reminding myself, Seth Godin literally um, wrote one blog a day for more than 20 years. So for me, that's it's as clear as that, right? So literally before I end my day, I make it a point to fire up the machine. If, of course, I happen to be in a place where internet is not too much of an issue, I use my laptop and share with you something related to life as a digital coach. What is it like being there for other people? What is it like holding space? And that's literally been how, um, from August going into September of last year, really initially figuring out where we were going to be based, and then, of course, over a period of time, we've kind of firmed up on that. And now, of course, at least at present, I am Bangalore based. And yeah, I mean, even as I reflect back, between Jan and March, there was a lot of reworking on how I wanted to present, the breadth and the depth of what I've been learning in the area of self-hypnosis, hypnosis, and hypnotherapy. And over a period of time, I've chosen, in my work context, I've chosen to focus on teaching people self-hypnosis, because I truly believe that as a digital coach, there's a lot that we go through. And one part of that is being able to figure out what really is our value that we are creating in the lives of our clients, and how do we present it in a way where it can truly be of service to them. So that has been my personal journey over the years, and also in turn helping my clients scale their own summits, and to be able to build a future for themselves where they truly are able to create that kind of value in the lives of their clients. So this has obviously been the main focus. And of course, somewhere between, I would say, June, I would say maybe May and June, I started to notice that I had kind of come full circle. And, for many, many years, in fact, from way back from 2016, I've been studying a lot of digital marketing, sales psychology, marketing psychology. And for many, many years, having been in the trenches and really uh, finding the best teachers that are out there and to learn from them, I know I'm now at that point where I've become extremely selective about who I'm working with, and also, building a community. At this phase, of course, I know that I am building the community literally brick by brick, because this kind of work is pretty intensive. And my intention is to be able to help uh, the coaches that are drawn into my message, and in turn that are drawn to my energy, to be able to truly hold that space to help them, right? So that's been the focus all these months. And now that we're in the month of August at the time of this recording, we're definitely, I know that I'm definitely at a place where it's just, it's going to build. And like any process, eventually there will be that tipping point, whether that is now or in a moment. To me, I'm no longer hunting for that tipping point. I'm just showing up every day and doing the work, right? And I can see that showing up in the lives of my own clients, right? They are willing to put in the work, they're getting the results. And that really is what, for me, is like proof of concept that, my clients are starting to see results and deep results. So that's been, on the work front. Obviously, on the home front, it's been, um, if I go back from last August to now, it's definitely been a like a crisscross. There've been a lot of one is, of course, questions of relocation. We were exploring places, and then eventually I got to a place where I knew, okay, we were going to be based out of Bangalore. We may shuttle, we may travel, but be based out of Bangalore. And of course, as some of you may know, just recently, barely about just about 12 days ago, my mom-in-law passed on. So uh, it's definitely been a time on the personal front of reflection, of taking my time, and really every day is a moment to reflect on my own life, and in turn, as I tap into that energy, to be able to help my clients, to be able to, and my students, to be able to reflect on their life, as they are wanting to build a business, as they're wanting to be able to reach out to more people and build their own communities. uh, I think what's also been fascinating is that now, as I reflect back, if I go in reverse order, um, my personal practice has definitely gotten stronger. I noticed that I am able to meditate a lot more, be a lot more present, and truly, you know, accept uh, what's happening around me, as well as to be able to be extremely clear about what I want, and what I want to manifest in my life, right? What I want to bring into my reality. And I think a lot of that has to do with, it's like I was watching a podcast the other day about, I think it was Alex Hermosi, talking about how you can do many things, do a little bit of many things, or you start to whittle it down and just focus on one thing, focus on one thing, focus on one thing. And when you go deep within, that one thing that you're focusing on, the results are incremental, meaning you will get incremental results. The output is going to be incremental, and you'll see that over a period of time. So, yeah, I think this I'm glad that I kind of got this momentary little nudge or little whisper that, let's reflect on the year. Because even as I was about to get um, to go online and start this process, for a second I couldn't actually remember where I was last August. And then of course I remember that by August of last year we knew that we were uh, leaving Bombay, and we were moving on from Bombay and coming to Bangalore. So I'm glad that I got to do this. And of course, I've, I have definitely made that commitment because I feel connected to wanting to share one part of my life like this. And for those of you who do watch this, whether you're watching it now, whether you're watching it later, this is also a way to kind of mark, um, put that mark in the universal calendar that, oh yeah, if I reflect back, it's like a digital diary of what my life has been like. Now we're slowly inching, closer to a year since this whole process began. And for the longest time, I've always watched so many of these success stories, people who have been creating content consistently for like I remember eons ago. This was watching Casey Neistat. For those of you who do watch YouTube videos like a lot, and for whom, if you love cinematography, then you would have come across Casey Neistat, or of course now the algorithm will pick it up. But the point is that I remember at one point in his life, his career, he was literally like shooting, and these are like really well, shot and edited videos, which he himself was doing for the longest time. He did, I think, about almost a year and a half, like doing vlogs every day for like a year and a half. And of course, it it did make a big dent in how people saw him and who people considered him to be. So for me, this was one of those things that I never really understood. Like, okay, how do they do this? Like, what do you need to be? Who do you need to be able to consistently show up, right? And of course, in 2019, when I started to study digital marketing a lot more deeply, um, this was one of the areas, right? And of course, as a digital coach, that this is typically one of the difficult parts of the mix. Like doing the work, that's the easy part, right? Whether you're as a digital coach, whether you're working with somebody in the area of health or wealth or relationships, even spirituality or life's purpose, if you're helping people in these areas, that in comparison to marketing or sales usually tends to be easier to do. So when you learn and you understand that, okay, there is this thing called content marketing, content creation, having a content calendar, things like this, which blew my mind when I heard about it for the first time in 2019. And this is, mind you, having already, even though I've worked in an ad agency more than a decade before that, I've done my MBA in marketing. In spite of all of that, like having a calendar or being a content creator was something that I never had really understood at that time. And so even in those days, I used to wonder, it's like, what does it take to be able to show up like this every day and share and create? But that's exactly how this has been panning out. And I know it is still very, very early days. Whether you go by view count, whether you go by subscribers, I know that I definitely know that this is the early phase, because even watching other people's, it's like one of my favorite creators are Colin and Samir, and I've been watching them, I think, ever since Casey Neistat days. So that would be like 2016, maybe 2016, 2017. So that's a good 6 years, right? And it's only recently that they crossed the 1 million mark, right? And these are guys who were doing, two guys, they're like film, one's a film grad, one been in sort of the business. And together they've been doing this work, but it was a very, very slow climb in the initial phase. Today, of course, it's different. So I know that, when you talk about content marketing, when you talk about content creation, it is a long, let's put it this way, it's a journey, right? And that for me is something that has really finally registered, that it is not about somehow trying to game the system and overnight have whatever number of subscribers or whatever. I mean, sure, if that happens, great. We're always open to. I'm definitely open to to surprises. And I just noticed I got a what's that called? An update for money that just came in, and you know that I've understood that this work that we do is it's not easy work, but this is work that's blessed, right? I've truly come to understand that and come to accept that. And so what we're doing is sacred, and what we are creating for our clients, what our clients in turn are creating for their own worlds, right? Whether it's like saying, if you are a digital coach, who is working with somebody who may or may not be a coach, but whether you realize it or not, you are actually making a difference in the lives of so many, right? You may be working with one or five or 10, or, maybe you've got like a group. So maybe there are 10 or 15 people that, or more, that show up to learn the skill that you're teaching them. But more importantly, in turn, this change that you're creating and that you're facilitating for them is literally creating ripples in the lives of so many. So, it's not just about that short, quick win. It's more about building a sustainable framework so that not only do you benefit, but more importantly, you're able to create that space that makes your clients feel like they really matter. Because when they wake up every morning feeling that and knowing, that feeling of knowing that knowing that they matter, that is what they take into their own environments, right? And that's how change happens. That's how magic happens. So, like I said, you know, I'm really glad that I got to share a little bit, a slice of my own, the last 360 plus days um, with you. And of course, if you happen to be watching this later, maybe later in 2023, or maybe a year or two after, if this is that time when you happen to be watching this, I just want you to know that we all have a start point. And as long as you accept, you recognize and you accept that, yes, uh, we need to start somewhere. And right now is that starting point. Now, this maybe in the past you've tried many times. I can tell you that I know what that feels like. I've been doing this for now a little over 21 years. So I know that if you've had several starts or false starts, or starts and stops and starts again, I get that, right? Or maybe you're just new to this and it's been just a couple of months or a couple of years. That's perfectly fine. Just remember that if you're here and you're listening to this message, this is meant for you. And that as you continue to strive, as you continue to stay focused on what you really want to do and you really want to make that difference in the lives of others, things will work out, right? It's like, if nothing else, the fact that I'm telling you that I had this dream 21 years ago and I'm still doing this, that itself should give you, uh, a moment to reflect, going, yeah, you know what? It is possible, right? So, yeah, with that, I shall now start to land this plane. And as I said before, if you, especially as a digital coach, if you are, um, you know, maybe you've got these negative beliefs about yourself that keep you feeling bound, that keep you feeling scared, um, that keep you in a space of self-doubt, I can tell you that if you are willing to, on the other hand, just focus on building powerful, positive self-beliefs, and if you are willing to do that with help, then you know you're in the right space, because that is exactly what I do when I work with my students and with my clients. So one thing that I've done amongst a few is I have created a workshop which I run on Sunday at 11 a.m., specifically targeted and designed for digital coaches. And the intention is that if you are right now in that space where you possibly already spent money on tools and technology and mentors, and somehow when you look at the bank, you're like, something's missing. I don't know what it is, but something's not clicking. Then you know you're in the right space, right? And my intention is to help you literally where you're going, okay, mera number kab aayega? Meaning, when am I going to be on the winning side? So my intention is to take you from there to a space of life jingalala. So if you're living in India, you know exactly what that means. Sort of like a rough translation means that if you are right now in a space of, when am I going to be on the winning side, to go to space where literally like every day where you're waking up and you're seeing things like I shared with you just now. I literally, as I was talking to you, I saw a notification pop up of money coming into the bank, right? And I remember way back in 2016, I had heard about realities like this, right, of digital marketing. And this is, mind you, way before in a more sort of known way in India. 2016, we barely knew what digital marketing was unless you worked in a company, right? As a personal brand, it was pretty much non existent. So, I've been tracking this for a while, and to see this literally as I'm sharing my uh, literally, what is it called? Like reflecting back on the year, the retrospect, as it's known. Uh, I get to share this news with you as well. So I'm just telling you that this is a reality, and it just takes that moment to decide that you want to live this reality. You want this to be your reality, and you want to, of course, you want to genuinely be able to help people and keep building on that skill. So, as I said, if this is something that you are, that you really want in your life, and maybe you've tried other ways and it's not worked, I can tell you in my own life and as I've been working with my clients, self hypnosis is something that, firstly, I do know how to teach that. And secondly, I know that it truly does help you shift your beliefs, right? Which means it helps you create powerful self beliefs. And that itself literally makes you that magnet, right? And when you feel like that magnet, you're literally drawing people to you. You may have come across the term magnetic marketing. You become that magnet. So literally the right people find you. And as I said, the premises and the promise is very simple, right? It is all about helping you maximize your market value. And that is a promise, right? So I look forward to seeing you at this workshop, as I said, on Sunday at 11 a.m., regardless of which uh, part of the week that you happen to be watching this. Of course, this is being recorded right now, so do check the Facebook group. It's called Self Hypnosis Mastermind, and you will obviously get to know if for some reason, when you listen to this versus when it has been recorded, if there's been a shift. But otherwise, the intention right now is to keep going and keep doing this on a Sunday at 11 a.m. All right. So with that, I will pause for today. I will, of course, be back tomorrow. And tomorrow being my birthday, I will definitely be recording live. So I want to thank you once again. It's been an absolute joy to keep showing up and keep sharing with you. And you know who you are, because I know there are a lot of people that watch. And that's why when I say at the beginning, it's like my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. I know there are a lot of people that are the um, what do they call them? The stalkers or the lookers, the looky-loos. So people who look, but they're not yet ready to move forward. And I completely get that, right? I've been there too at some point in my life. So just want to say thank you, because for it's your energy that keeps drawing me back here every day to keep sharing with you. So with that, I'm going to wrap. And of course, as always, remember to live with purpose. I will see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, wonderful day ahead and an amazing week as well, right? Take care. God bless.